please. The floor is yours.
Okay, so thank you very much, Philo. All right, so hello everyone.
I can't hear you clearly.
Good morning. How markets?
Please speak up. So
I hope you guys. I hope so react when they make a react. How's everybody now? Okay, happy. Thank God. Okay, so uh, blessing react is reacting with your head. Okay, God will help you. All right. Uh, okay, you're acting in various ways. I like that. Okay. Okay. Yes. First, yes, React is a whole lot more better than JavaScript, sure, if you get to use it very well. All right. So, usually before we start, I usually like asking questions if there's anywhere you're having issues and all. Okay. As per the last class, there was something we did that was looking like magic, and you try it in your own. It did not react the way it was supposed to react and all. So let's just ask those questions now before we actually move, you know. Okay, first, yeah. So you should ask your questions.
Good morning. Sorry for the background noise. My React. If I put HTML, the tags like those divs and the others, when I save, the stuff scatters and show red. Though the code works, but it show red and scatter the code, the stuff.
Okay. Okay. So it shows red. Okay, yes, that's because of the formatter you're using. Okay. Basically, whenever you use React, you're supposed to be using something like ESLint or Prettier to help format your code. So it works very well. I think that's what's causing your issue.
I'm using Prettier. I don't know if that's enough.
Okay, there's a way you can actually configure Prettier and ESLint to work together with React, but most times you definitely need to have React to, sorry, you definitely need ESLint whenever you're working with React. It's always a whole lot easier. But then you don't have to uninstall Prettier. Prettier also helps too. So I think I had that problem once. I had to search online for a very long time to get a tutorial that was going to do that for me. But I think I'll have to do a research online again and find a very good tutorial to help you configure that. You're going to have to configure it. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. My network just went off. Yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, blessing, yes, there's a way to actually link to pages in React. But to do that, you need to set up your React router DOM and all. So there's something I was supposed to send to you guys. I was supposed to have sent you guys a link to a tutorial since last week, since the last class. But I beg one of the my head full. Yeah. So, but I think I will do that by the time this class is over. So I'm giving you guys a task for what you're going to do. Then I'll also be sending you guys the link so you guys can actually use the link and work. in case you have any questions. Okay. So the link is actually a playlist on YouTube that you guys can actually use and work with. So blessing, calm down now, don't worry. A task is a task, whether it's with mercy or no mercy. Don't worry about that one. Okay, Jonathan, you have a question. What's your question?
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning.
So, this is my first time actually joining this class for React, and the first
Okay,
video I followed the on video, so I was able
okay,
with questions, but I can't see how to do that. So, but the second class for the React, I did not watch it down because the YouTube channel, so I don't know how to get that.
okay. Okay, so since you're here, it's actually a good thing. The second class on React, it was an impromptu class we did, so it was not scheduled properly, so it was not officially recorded. I think someone did record it and posted it on Slack. But either ways, uh, by the time I'm supposed to post a link to tutorial on YouTube. If you could actually follow that tutorial, the tutorial is actually going to cover what I did in that class, which you missed, and more. Okay, so it's actually a very straightforward tutorial you can use, and it's easy to follow. So yes, okay. Best says the class that class is on the resources channel. So check the resources channel on Slack. You could see it there. All right. So Orofe, you also have a question.
Okay, good morning. Yes, I do. So
All right.
there are two. So the first one is that when the previous yes, the previous organized class, not the fixed class now, not the Saturday one.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
you about CSS, about the styling link for the CSS. You said the index should come first and then the app should come second. But I was thinking, since JavaScript reads from top to bottom, I'm asking actually that
Okay.
what if there's a contradicting or something that will supersede what is in the global one, which is the index, and we now put the app dots this app CSS we now put it below the global one. Will it not override what we have in the global one?
Yes, it will override it. Yeah, it will.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
please, like, I've not tried anything with it. I just wanted to know if the global one should be first or the global one should be last, like Bootstrap and personal CSS file.
Okay. Okay. So good thing you asked that question. So the way React works, you could actually use either the global CSS, okay, or you could use your app.css. But so that there's no conflict, I usually use one CSS file, which is the index.css, so that everything stays in one file and there's no conflict of styles, whichever way. But if you're going further, there are situations where you have to scope your style. So scoping your style in the sense that you could actually create a component and a style for a particular component. So the style for that particular component doesn't actually go beyond that component. I don't know if you're getting my point. So it's more like creating a div and creating a class for that div. So whatever you style that class with affects that div. So that's just kind of the logic behind it.
Oh, okay. More like maybe an inline styling sort of.
Yes, something like that. Yes. But this time it's not inline, but then it's scoped to a particular component. Yeah, so that way it doesn't get to override with others. But I think moving forward, I'll do a tutorial on that. But for now, I think we could just use one particular CSS file so you get to understand how everything works.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Then the second thing, I will I noticed when you were typing, you just type, okay, for instance, when you want to type the button tag, you just type maybe BUT and then it brings out the opening and the closing tag for you. I mean, so I would like to ask, what extension are you using for that? Because I have to type my all through. I type all the opening bracket, the closing bracket, like I type everything,
Okay.
but no suggestions come up.
Okay. There's something called Emmet abbreviation. Okay,
Okay,
yes, there's
yes.
something called Emmet abbreviation. I don't know if you've come across it on VS Code before.
Yes, on HTML, it's there,
Yeah.
but it's not working on
Okay.
the React project.
Okay. All right. So good thing. Okay. So there are lots of things you guys have to learn, but then time is short. So like IK said, project week is starting next week, and you guys need you guys have a lot to learn, and there's so little time. I can't use 2 hours to show everything. Okay. But I think it still begs the issue that I need to give you guys a resource that's going to help complete this that you guys will actually use on your own. Okay, so yes, the simple React snippets could work with that, but simple React snippets is actually for React snippets, not for JSX. If you don't set it properly, it might not work. Okay, so for the good thing about this is that the tutorial I'm actually going to give you guys is tutorial I used when I was learning and it covers most of these basic principles. So it's going to be a lot more fun and easy for you guys, especially with the task you're going to be handling. It's going to cover a lot for you guys too. Okay. So I hope that answers your question for now.
Yes, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so any more questions? No more questions. Okay, Timilaine. Okay, go on.
Sorry, I wasn't sure. You were saying something like I don't know if it's prettier or fritzier. Like I didn't get what you said then. So like I wanted to know what it
Okay,
was.
okay, yes. Prettier is an extension in VS Code, and it helps for formatting code. So that's what Prettier does. But there's a way you could actually set it if you don't configure your VS Code very well. If you write React and you save, because the default formatter of VS Code, okay, is initially set to format HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So it might actually break your code per se. Okay, so if you don't actually set it fine, it might not work. So that I think that was what Bess was asking about, and that was what I was trying to explain to him. So you need a PTR and you also need ESLint so that they might work very well. Okay, so Timilaine, does that answer the question, or you'd like to?
Yes, that answered my question.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Okay, so sorry about that. My hotspot keeps switching itself off. Okay. All right. So if that is that for now, we could start. Does anybody have any last question? Okay. Emmanuel, thank you for that. Anybody has any question to ask before we move? If there is none, I think the class should be starting now. All right, so I am hoping there's no more questions, Abby. All right, if there is none, then let us start. Okay, so you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
All right, so let me do a little recap on the last class. Okay, so this is what we're talking about last class. Okay, this is like the last thing we did in the last class. That's displaying lists of data in a React component using the using map. So this was what we did. I created this object called this array of objects called blocks, and the idea was to display them in the DOM using React. Okay, so let me redo this again. So let me copy this out. And now, to dynamically display contents in the DOM using React, this is what you do. Let me take this off. First things you need to do is the curly braces. And once you open it, you have to reference the particular array you're trying to work with, so which is blocks. So I'll say blocks.map. Now with React, it works differently. So let me show you what I mean. So say block, arrow function. Now instead of curly braces again, React will use parentheses, so like this, and inside it you now paste in code. I already typed this out in the last class. This is just the, let's say, sort of a summary of last class, so it's not necessarily, I'm not going to be repeating myself on certain things. Sure. All right, so this is what we have. Okay, so like I said, React is okay. The way React works now, React is actually a lot faster than normal HTML. So that's because of the way React works. Now, the way React works, React actually pulls from the server once, and every other time you have to make changes to the DOM. So what React does is that React actually makes a record and looks at the changes of what you've made and what's actually in the current DOM, and just replaces those changes with replaces the changes with what you've changed. So that way it's a lot faster. And if you're actually going to be displaying a list, one of the things you need to do to help React to know what's actually being changed is an ID. So React always has an ID for every list. So every item in a list needs to have an ID so that React could actually know what's being uploaded there or not. Now, if you actually do take this list away, it's actually going to return an error because React definitely needs this ID. So maybe in case you actually practice that over the weekend and it didn't work, just take note. There's always a key value which you need to input. So it's always it's an ID, and React needs that ID because it has to display what's on the browser from that. So if we go back here, let's see. All right, so check. This is what we have. All right, so this is a list of all the lists we just added. Okay, so that's that. I think the only thing I haven't touched yet is props. Okay, so now let's say, for example, we have this. Okay, now, but we want to do something we haven't done yet. Okay, let's see. What would that be? Let's say we want to make want to create a component. Okay, let me see. All right. So we created a component called blog list, and this blog list is a list of all the blogs. Okay. Now let's say we wanted to make a list, or sorry, wanted to create another component, but now just for the cards alone. Let's say, for example, maybe we want to use this particular card design somewhere else, not just in the blog list, but in another section. We could actually do that, and to do that, we'll create okay, let's create a new file, and let's just call this block card. .js, and yep. Now I'll create a new functional component, refc. All right, so this is block card. For this to work, I'm actually going to take all of this off, and I am going to paste it here. Okay, and let me import. So I'm importing here is block card. Okay, so it's automatically imported here. Now, so the way props work is this. Props is actually a way of transferring data from one component to the other in React. And okay, it's more like an attribute. It's the syntax is more like an attribute in HTML, but then it's a whole lot easier and it's more dynamic. So what do I mean? So let's say this data now, this blogs array which we just created, we've actually changed it and we created a blog card just because this is a reusable component card. Okay, can you guys hear me? If you could hear me, I'd like you to say something. All right.
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So, okay, now, so for now, everything is actually deleted because I removed this. Okay. So now what I'm trying to say is this. With props, you could actually pass data from one component to another. Now, blog list is one component, blog card is another component. But we want to pass in the values of this blogs array to the card in this blog card component. Okay, it was initially in blog list, but I want to use this example to show you guys how props work. Now, the first thing we do is stating the props. And how do we do that? Inside this block card component you just created that has been imported, you could see blogs equal to blogs. Okay, like so. And what we could do is this. Now, this is us creating. This is us creating our props. Now we have to reference the props, or we have to call the props here in this block card folder. Because if you look at this, you see that blog.id, blog.author, blog.preview, they are all showing this red because now if you check our console, it's we haven't saved yet, so it's not going to give us an error. But if we save this, we're going to get an error that blog is not defined. So yeah, you see, uh, blog is not defined, blog is not defined, blog is not defined, and that's an error. Now, for us to make sure blog card is actually able to see the blog in this particular component, we've already passed in the value here, which is blogs. So what we'll do is this: we say come here, and we say props p props dot blog. Now, doing this, saving. Okay, it's supposed to be props to blogs. Okay, no. It's supposed to be okay. The best way to actually do this is to destructure it and call this blog. And this is actually the blog passed from here in here. So if we save this and we refresh, okay, reference error blog is not defined. Okay, see, refresh this. Okay, so I think we have an error. So let's solve this. So I think solve this. Okay, so blocks. This is block. This is going to be called block. So this and this. So save. Yep. Good. All right. So let me explain the little magic that just happened here. So we have this blocks array of objects, and this is supposed to be like a list of authors and contents or previews of books they've written. Now we are trying to display this to the DOM, but we want to make this card a reusable component. So it's something we could actually reuse somewhere else apart from this block, apart from using it in this block card. But the way we actually do that, we create the component for block card. After creating the component, we export it, which is what we just did here. And we import it to this component where we want to actually pass in the data. Okay, so after importing it into this component of block list where we want to pass in the data, we call this component like it's a HTML tag. Okay, so now that's the power of JSX. Okay, now with that we could actually pass in the value of what we want to. We could pass in the value of this blog, which we have called using this map, into these props. Now this is the props. This is us passing the data. using the props. Now, coming down here now, this is actually where we pass the props here. Okay, so if this is looking foreign, let's if there's a question and is or if there's something that's confusing, so you can ask your questions to answer before we move on to the next thing. Any questions? Okay. If there's a question, or have no question, sure. So I'm guessing you guys understand this, right? Or if there's a question, raise your hand. Let me know. Okay. Going. Once it's gone, I'm going to move back to the class. So if you have your question, now will be a perfect time to ask. Okay, since there's no question, let's move on then. All right. So this is basically how props work. All right, so if you guys actually understand this, then I think it's time for us to move on to something that's a lot more, difficult. Or let's try and see if we can try our hands on something that's more difficult than what we've done before. So to do that, I'm going to get a link from somewhere. It's a Figma link. So this is actually going to be your assignment or your task per se, what you're going to be doing. All right. Okay, Chidiogo. Creating a reusable component is not called props. A component is a component. That's why it's called a component, because it can be reused anytime. But props is actually a way of passing data from one component to the other. Okay, I don't know if you get that point. That's what props are. The way of passing data from one component to the other. Now, let me explain. Let me explain that. Yeah, thank you both very much. Yeah, basically called properties. So it's more like saying passing your properties from one person to another. But then there's a systematic way of actually doing it. Okay, so this is a task. This is a task I'm actually going to be giving you guys to do. So, well, just so that me no can be like say, a bad pass for year. So I'm actually going to do it. I'll, I'll start the task with you guys, and we'll do it to some extent, and then I'll I'll leave the task with you guys to complete it. Okay, so let's move. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, so okay. Okay, okay, Chidiogo, do you understand now? Or what's actually, okay, what's the part that's making you confused?
Okay, so from what Ogo just said now, it means that is the part where you have to like import it into another page to use it. Is the act of trying to move it that is to props. Not like everything you did is called props. I just wanted to know if it was everything, but you said no.
No, everything is not called props. So this is what I just did. So I moved this data. I wanted to use this data, okay, here. Like in the last class, I created a card which was inside here, okay. But now, the idea of components is actually doing something that is reusable, not just in one place, but you could use it at any time you want. So all you just have to do is just, like I did here, just call the components you want to use, okay? That's the idea behind components, something that can be reused. But then, if you can actually reuse a component, then what if you want to pass data to that component you want to reuse? How would you do that? Now that is where props come in. Now, props for the short form, the full meaning of it, it's actually properties. And as per properties, this array, now this particular data here could actually be said or could be called a property of this component called blog list. But then you want this component blog list to actually share its properties with this other component, this newly created component called blog card. Now, to use it, to do that, the first thing you have to do is to make sure you call the blog card component, or you import it inside the blog list component, inside the component that has the properties you want to share it with, or want to share with it. Now, after doing that, you call the particular component you want, the particular property that you want to be shared between the two components, which is this blog I did here. And that was the same thing as I opened this block card component that I also did here. Okay, now after that, so now I could actually safely call the components, the properties of this particular array in this other component. Even if the array is not in this component, I can still call it. Why? Because these two components, I've been able to successfully link them up by making them share properties. So I don't know if you understand, if that was a good enough explanation for you. All right, you're welcome. All right, so like I was saying, this is a task you're going to be doing. Okay, so it's called spacious. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I think I'll be sharing this Figma link with you guys later on, so that you guys will actually see this and work on this. Now, this is a UI, and your task is going to be using, we're going to be using React to create this UI, everything together with the flow. Okay, there is actually a flow to it. Let me show you guys what the flow looks like. All right. So the first thing you see is actually the loading image, or the loader, which is this. We can go back, which is this. That's the first thing you see, and then this is your home page per se, and these are a list of planets, and these are a list of characters inside the planet. So what you guys are actually going to be doing is to recreate this UI, everything with the way it works from beginning to end. Just the UI, nothing more. You're not going to be calling any APIs at all, just this UI. That's what you guys will be doing. Well, I think I will be starting. Okay, I'll start it. So I'll take the first step and show you guys how it actually works. So it doesn't look like it's very, very difficult to work with. Okay. All right. So also another here because the task is not hard. It's just UI. If you just take it like you're using HTML to create the UI, something like that. Knowing that this time it's not HTML, it's called JSX. Yeah, I like the reactions I'm getting. It shows that they are really reacting. And trust me, it is not hard. If I not encourage you like this, and make you me do something, it not gonna make sense now. I have to encourage you to do things that are hard by telling you it's not hard. Okay, but then it's not hard. Don't worry. Yeah. uh we are behind you all the way. Okay, so I not fear. It's not whining. Okay, okay. All right. So all right. So how do we go about this now? This is what we'll be using. So I think you guys have actually seen the flow. So this is how it works. You have your list of characters for a particular planet, and then once you click on a particular planet, it tells you something about the planet. Okay, all of these are just only text, and it tells you the particular characters inside that particular planet. So these are the list of characters in the planet. Okay, just this, and then yeah, I think that's that for now. Then there's actually a button to create a planet or character. Okay, this is to create a planet. After this, create a planet, close, and then for characters too, there's also one to create a character. Yeah, and after creating the character, let's see. All right, so then this is a list of, okay, this is a character, a description of the character, the planet character stays, the friends the character has. And if the person has friends, the friends are actually going to be here too. Okay, so it's just a very simple UI. So, all right, so let's start. See, I like this. I like this fit. Ah, oh, but you and they not they fear you. I'm glad they like you, Sha. All right, so this is a project we'll be embarking on. So, okay, so let us start everything from scratch. Okay, we build this from scratch all the way up. Now, how do we do that? Okay, so first things first, let's look at what we have. Now, this is actually our home page. So, all right, let's do a little bit of brainstorming. Okay, guys, can you hear me? So I'm going to ask a question. Okay, I just want to see how good you guys have been following the React class. All right, so if you were to start this project, what would be the first thing you would do? Which page would you design first? Just a question. Make I mark up the projection now. The navbar. Oh, okay. Does it have a navbar? Okay. Okay, vested in Alpha. Who else? What would you do first? Okay. All right. So this is it. Top to bottom. Okay. So any ideas? Okay, the plants and the characters are not in Alpha. Okay, Jonathan said he start with the cards. Okay. Yeah, so it's just a 4 pages design. Yes. Ogo. Ogo, yes. Okay, Oracle says start with the app components. Okay. Then look for a way to, okay. I think we will make each component and look for a way, okay, to next each of them. Okay, Timila, okay, just go ahead and just say what's on your mind. Let's hear you out.
Yeah.
Timila, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I
Okay.
can hear you. I think we would
All right.
make like we would check the whole stuff, then look at how we can group them into each component or something. Like the planet will have its own components and characters, and other things will have its own components. And any other thing that like falls under each of them, we can just create a component for each of them, then put it inside that main component or something like that, I guess.
Okay. All right. So that's on Timila's side. Who else? Who else has a suggestion? Just put up your hands there. Ask. So you say something. How would we go about this project if we were to do it? Anybody wants to say something? Okay. Very fair.
Okay, excuse me. So, what I think goes along what May said. So, since what you taught us is that the app contains all other created components, like the block list comes into the app components. I think I think I'll create the one that will contain everything first. Then I'll start to create the subsidiary, the small components that will fit in the main component.
Okay. Very good idea. Yeah, very good idea. Nice idea too. All right. So anybody else wants to say something too? Hmm? Okay. Nobody's saying anything. All right. So thank you all for your brilliant comments. Yes, you guys are correct. I think we'll start from the app. Yes, and we're taking it little by little, and we'll start by creating other components, then we'll move one step at a time. All right, so I'll still be using this particular thing I just created. So let's do this. Let's do it like this. Let's see. What am I deleting from here? Okay, so apart from okay, let me use my file explorer. So inside the SRC folder, apart from the index.js file, think I'm deleting everything. So, all right, there we have it. All right, so take this off, this off. Okay, so all right, so first things first, we'll recreate our app component back, app.js, and we'll do refc. And we'll just say, let's just say hello world first for now. Let's save. I'm expecting us to get an error. Yeah, an error. Now the index.css file is also gone, so we will create that too. So I think it goes. Yeah. So, all right. So index.css file, created that, and I think we'll just basically just do a universal reset. Let's put universal resets here. So margin 0, padding 0. Okay, so there we have it. Hello world. All right, so that's that. So okay, so no comments for now. Now, I think one more thing to wanted to show us how to use Bootstrap with React here. So I think that's what we'll start with first. So let's do that. All right, so I think in one of the classes, someone was asking if there's a way to use Bootstrap with React. Abi? That's what someone was asking that. Right? Yeah, okay, so this is how it works. First of all, we'll install Bootstrap. Now this time we're not going to be copying the link, we're going to be installing it. Okay, so currently I have the documentation for React Bootstrap open. So I went there and just copied the installation process. So I'll just open my command line from VS Code and paste this there. All right, so network does not do us for Juru today. Okay, so yes, network try for us to this one, sure. All right, so I think we are good. We finished downloading that. So let's start. Now there are a lot of things we could do. So first things first, let's go back to the folder we're working on, or we're working with, or the design we're working with. Sorry. So it's not 1 gig. Calm down. Okay, so let's look at this very well. Okay, so this is supposed to be like a heading or a nav bar. If you want to use a nav bar, yes, this could be a nav bar. This spacious here could be a nav bar. And after the nav bar, we have tabs, this and this, because this is still in the same page, but this goes like this, yeah. So, and then after that, we now have these cards that display like this, and yep, and then same thing for this too. So first thing we're going to do first is to add this nav bar. So for us to do that, I think I'm actually going to have to open this React Bootstrap guide here. So let me open this. React Bootstrap. Okay, so we already installed it and we know how to put it up. So first, let's look for navbar first. Now, from navbar, this is what we want to use. Okay, so let's see. Open a new tab. So if we take a look at this very well, you see that it's like they use the container for this because it's centered kind of. If you guys notice that, so this. Okay, so one other thing we'll be looking out for is layout. So for a container, this is what we need. So copy and this is what we're going to do. App.js. Let's see. Okay, so guys, I'm just testing to see how this works. I haven't necessarily used Bootstrap on React before, so let's see. Okay, they are Bootstrap scripts to services. Okay. Okay. All right. So all right. So I think that's just okay, guys. Can you guys still hear me? Sorry, I think my stuff is.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I think my stuff is beginning to act up a little. All right. So All right, so I was just going through their documentation. I need to see how it works, stuff. So okay, so first things first, back. So uh, to use any components with I think first things we're doing is okay. Let's import. So basically that's how React works. You import almost everything you use. First thing I want to import is, I think it's called grid. So the grid or container. Yep, container. What's container from React Bootstrap? So this is what we'll be using. So everything is supposed to be inside the container. So instead of using div hello world, we'll just take that off. This is what we'll get. We get container with row. So we'll just copy this and paste this here. Switching a little. All right, so we'll just container and row. So after row, and then also get code. All right, so this and then instead of this, you just take this out. The next thing we want to get is navbar. So what do we do? Just also get navbar. Add navbar here. Good. What we just need from the navbar, I just want to get something navbar with just the brand. So navbar from React. Okay. All right, so I just need to get just this. Okay, so I think before I get to the row, I want this to be here. Paste this in. Okay, and this is what we have. Okay. All right, so okay, so if we save this and check what we have, this is what we should get. And refresh. All right, so we have navbar here. Please, if there is anything, okay, so I never even got finished. Okay. Uh, is it really that cruel? Okay, it's you. People should just be coming down. It's not like it's that hard or anything. Now it's just that with React inside, definitely a lot of things will have to change. So it's not Bootstrap is not just going to be only CSS again, it's also going to be JS included. But the idea you have using Bootstrap with HTML still applies, okay? As long as you have that knowledge, it's not going to be as difficult as you expect it to be. And trust me, it's that knowledge I'm just applying here. To do what I'm actually doing now. So it's not difficult at all. Don't see it as being difficult. Okay, so I think I need to take this here. See if that works. See. Okay. This isn't showing well, so right. So yeah, yeah. Okay, so all right, so I think this is what we have for now. So now part of brand, we don't really need a page ref for this. Okay, we can leave it. So let's change this from what it is to, let's see, spacious. That's what we have. So please, okay, we are not importing everything, but this is how it works. For us to actually use Bootstrap in React, we have to import most of the things we are doing, not from React, but from Bootstrap itself. Okay, so now how it works is this: you have to make an import of almost everything you use. Now we are importing this from React Bootstrap. Okay, if we don't do it like this, all these things you're going to see here, React will just be giving you error. Like this is not defined, this is not defined, this is not defined. So all of these things you're seeing here are basically components. Container is a component, but this container component is from Bootstrap, it's from React Bootstrap. So you have to import React Bootstrap for you to be able to use this component the way it is here. I don't know if you guys are actually getting the point. That's why we're importing them. Okay, it's not like it's very hard. You just need to follow a particular convention. Okay, you need to follow a particular pattern. All right, so that's why I'm actually doing this now. So it's not going to be very difficult. Ah, okay, okay, I see. So you're pulling somebody's legs, Abby. Voila, happy pulling. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. Um, okay. So this is not being centered. This is not being centered. So let's get something. Now this is how you guys are actually going to be working. But you like media query now. Even media query is used. Don't worry. Okay, so let's do something. Okay, I think I opened it here. Yeah. All right. Okay, so auto layout. So that's not what we need. All right, so I think this is what we want to get. So and this is where we need to put this class name, justify content. Don't need it for the ND center. So let's see, why is this not working? Okay, so all right, so this is actually a bit. Okay, so this is not working the way you expected it to work, and let's see why. Okay, okay, guys, hold on. Let me debug this and see what's causing the issue. Then I'll get back to you guys. Okay, so all right. But for now, if you guys have any questions, okay, let's see. All right, so this is actually working fine. Okay, for now, I don't think I'll need a column. So take column out. Right, so take this.
Can I see your index.js?
Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm supposed to put this from there. Okay, Bess, do you have a question? Bess, do you have a question? You can ask your question.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. I don't know if we are supposed to make a folder for our images in React because I tried making a folder. It wasn't working for the images.
Okay, yes, you're supposed to make a folder for the images in React, but not inside the SRC folder. You're supposed to do it inside the public folder where the HTML file is. That's where you're supposed to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so everything is working fine. This guy is not supposed to be reacting this way. Okay. So I'm going to find that. Okay, so let's see, back to my code. Okay. Okay, so this is working fine. Okay, so for now I didn't like say this one shows sense. Okay guys, give me a few minutes. Let me debug this and get what's actually causing it. Okay, so think I might know why. I think I might know why. Okay, so let me do this way. But so, yeah, thing. All right, so I think I'll just have to duplicate this into container, row, and alpha. So change this to row, and then I'll change this to alpha. All right, so I'll take this off now. All right, so all right, let me do this. Okay, so hold on, let's have us start. Let me see what's actually causing the issue. Okay, still. Okay. Okay, so all right, so okay, let's do this. Okay, guys, if you can hear me, sorry about that, but I think what did I say? One day do some get small, so let's see. Okay. Okay, let me try this. Let's see. Okay, so I think I know why that's giving us the issue. So what's this? Save this. Issue. All right. So, guys, sorry about that. I think I give myself bug small. So I think we have actually solved that. So points to consider so that you guys don't get into the same error I got myself into. Yeah. Yes. Just like you just noted very well, you need to add this to the index.js file first, because everything you're going to be doing has to pass through this index.js file. So if you don't add it to index.js file, no matter what you do, as we have seen, it shall not work. But with this, I think it's going to work very well. So I think we could carry on from where we stopped. I think we could. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, so moving on. One other thing we want to do is, let's see. This has, okay, I think this has a spacing. So let's just say we could just give it a spacing like I did here, padding of 5. And, yeah, so this could work. Now, let's do a bit of styling. Okay, so let's do a little bit of styling. This is what we want to, let's see. Okay, once get this, not just this, for navbar BG light. So we don't need this BG light, so we could take this off because everything we have is white. So let's take this off. We don't need, okay. On second thought, let's leave the href. All right, so another thing, let's see. So for us to style this, we need to target the navbar brand. Yeah, so targeting the navbar brand in our index.css file. So I think before we do that, we need to change the font. So let's try and get the font, what this font is actually. Okay, so Poppins. All right, so let's see, Poppins. So we could go to, Google Fonts. Let's go to Google Fonts and get the fonts Poppins. Let's run with this guy now. Okay, sorry, error. So fonts we're searching for is Poppins. All right, so getting this, and let's check the particular font weight we are working with. Working with a font weight of 900. So let's see. Apart from that, which other one is actually using this? This is also Poppins, font weight of 600. Okay, font weight of 600. Okay, font weight of normal, still Poppins. So these are the variants we'll be using for Poppins. I could select this 100, 200. Then we'll select 600. if there is 900, yep, there is 900. So select 900 too. Yeah. Let's copy this link. Copy this link back to our VS Code. Now we'll be pasting this link in the index.html file. Mind you, the index.html file, not inside any JS file. So now saving this, now we could actually use it here. And how do we do that? Okay, confirm your opens. What do we need to get first? We need to get the navbar brand. Okay, so I think first things first, just say body. Since all the fonts here are actually done using Poppins, say body and give it a font family of this. Yep, save. So we could go back to our React app now and get the navbar brand. Okay, now for the navbar brand, this is how we want the navbar brand to look like. We want it to look like this. So what are we getting from here? Let's see. Font width of 900 is this. Okay, we just get this together with the colors and then we take out what we want to take out. Okay, so and taking out display flex. Yeah, and let's close up the space. Okay, and let's save this and let's see what we have. Okay, let's refresh. Okay, for some reason it does not want to show. Okay, so the index.css. So, all right, so is this it? Just this index.css. So let's see if this can see. Okay, so we're going to have to also import this too. Let's do that here. Let's just copy this and paste here. Okay, so it's been overwritten. Style.css is being overwritten. Let's see how we could actually work around that. So that I think we're going to be using let's say style specific English as Marshall. But we're going to be using something in CSS called specificity, something like that. But what it means is why our style is actually being overwritten is because you're just calling just one class. So if we could call multiple classes to overwrite theirs, I think ours should work. So I think I could use this. Instead of this, yep, and it should work. Okay, so I think the only thing that's still not working fine is the color. I don't know why the color does not want to change. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what we can do to change the color. Okay, just say A, but now background, save. Yep, now it has changed. Please, if you do not understand what I just did, let me see, put up your hand, please. First, yes, we could just use important, but then sometimes you don't necessarily have to use important all the time. Important should be used at the last minute where you know you can no longer do anything. That's when you should use important. But the proper way to go is using this CSS. The English hard, but let me just type it. I'll answer. I'll get to you guys, Akim Bobola, and who else had his hand up? Timilen, yes. I'll get to you guys just now. But let me type this out. It was pronounced it in the Miami. I don't know why. It's called, I think it's specificity. How it's pronounced? Let me check Google first. Yeah, this is its specificity. Okay. Yeah, so this is what I'm trying to say. So anyhow, when I feel pronouncer, thank you. So Akim Bobola, what's your question? Hello, Akim Bobola.
Yeah, I think I'll over to you later.
Okay. Timilai, you also had a question.
No, so I thought you explained the specificity. I thought you did it already. I didn't know. Like I was off for a while,
Okay.
so I don't know if you did it.
Okay, no, I didn't touch it, but I was just trying to reference it. So I did something and that was related to specificity. So that's why I had to bring it up. Okay, so it's called, yeah. So let's see, still on our stuff. I think there is no hover, so let's work on the hover. So even on hover, okay. Lowest expense. They have the same thing. So yeah, not changing. All right, so from here, the next thing we have to do is to create the tabs. What's it called? Is to create the tabs components. Okay, so we could actually do this way. Now there are lots of ways we could actually do this. We could have, okay, we could do this so many ways. Okay, so let's see. I could just say, because it's beginning to look a little bit messy, so let's just say we'll create a navbar component. So call this navbar JSX. Now I'm using JSX because I'm not writing any JavaScript inside here. This is just pure CSS. Sorry, there's no JavaScript inside here, so I don't need to use JS for now. So it doesn't make any difference to then. You could use JSX or you could use JS. So what I could do is this. I could create a RAFCE, and yep, hit this, and this is what I could do here. This whole navbar component, take it off and put it here, like this, and you're good to go. So now, all I have to just say import navbar, because that's the only thing I'm okay. And yep, I think that is it. Yeah, so now I could now come here and say navbar, and navbar has been imported for me. Right, so if we save this too. Let's see what is the error we're having here. About the system, right? Okay, so let's see what we have. There's an error. Okay, that's where navbar is already declared. Okay, so okay, so we'll do it this way. Let's change this to something else. So change this to verification bar. Copy and paste here. So JavaScript, and it's Wahala. So save this, and I think we should be good. Yeah, we're good. So you see, nothing changes, everything is still working the way they are supposed to work. And what I just did now was just to try and reduce, what do I say, too many codes written in one place, and try to make sure I put things that are supposed to be in components. Okay? It's this, in the spirit of that, I think I'll be creating another component called tabs. Yep, let's do that. So we'll call this component tabs. So see, tabs. Yes. Let's see what tabs.js is actually giving us. So let's go ahead and take a look at the tabs component. Okay. So I think we're done with the nav bar. So let's go to nav. Let's go to nav. Let's see what nav has. Okay, so this is nav, and we need something. Okay, let's just look for what we need, and we just do need to copy and paste, and then just remove. We'll not stress ourselves. So I think what we need is actually not just the nav, but the pills. So I think something that has content. So all right, so I think we'll just copy this from down here. Now, first of all, I'll do this RAFCE. And then let's see what we copy. Just paste this here. All right, so Okay, so this wasn't what. Okay, so not what I wanted to do, but okay, so
We can't hear you.
can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure I was muted, but I think at the point I was beginning to talk to myself, so sorry about that. Okay, so all right, so one more time don't finish you. Okay, so this is where I'm stopping. All right, so it's sad, but I have to stop here because of time. Okay, so basically this is what we'll be working with. But okay, before I go, I just want to ask a question. I hope you guys actually understood how, or I hope you guys can actually understand how Bootstrap works with React from this little example I've been doing. And for information, okay, it's not like I'm trying to do anything, but this is the first time I'm actually using Bootstrap with React. What I usually use is Material UI. Okay, so I'm actually doing this because I'm trying to do it from a novice point of view so that you guys will actually see what I'm doing. So most of the time I was just doing copy and paste. Okay, just go search for what I want and then copy it and put it and then paste it. So it's as easy as that. It's not like it's that difficult. Okay, so uh, all right. But then whenever you have questions, feel free to ask. Okay, yeah, Chidiogo. Yeah, what's your question?
Okay, so it's pertaining the color you used, like it wasn't working when you call specific class. You had to put letter A in between. So I wanted to know that letter A you pick, is it the class specificity you're talking about?
Okay, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, specificity is not just only about classes. It has to do with elements and the way CSS actually renders elements. Okay, how CSS renders styles. So if a particular style, now let me explain it. Let me explain it very well before we go. Now, so this is Bootstrap's own class, which we had overwritten using ours. Now, Bootstrap called two classes, this navbar light and navbar brand. And at first, what I called was just navbar brand. So everything I did not work using Bootstrap because Bootstrap was already overwriting it. Now, the way it works is using CSS, there are particular things that actually are very important to CSS. Now, the first one is IDs. Now, if you're using an ID as a selector, uh, okay, what I meant to say is there are selectors that are very important to CSS. Okay, now one of those selectors is actually IDs. An ID is a very important selector. Assuming I had used an ID here, it would have worked, but then it didn't actually have an ID, so I didn't want to use that. Now, if you're going to use classes, classes will actually work. But if there are more than one classes, in the element you want to override, it won't work except if you add more classes. Now, after classes, the next thing you have is your normal HTML tags. And then after your normal HTML tags, you now have pseudo classes where you have things like those colon before, colon after, and the rest of them, and hover and the rest. So, depending on these classes, that's what's actually going to help the CSS embedded in the browser to determine which particular style it's actually going to show. So sometimes you don't necessarily have to use important, because using important, sometimes important could actually break code. Let's say, for example, what you're doing is something that has to do with multiple classes, or where you're actually going to call it in another page, and that particular class will do something different in that particular page. Now, if you use important, important is actually going to make it how do I put it? Because that's actually going to make it kind of strict. So it's actually going to follow only just that particular rule which you use important for. And now you now find yourself now, if you now go to another page and want to use a particular style, you're going to have to use important again for that particular style to work. So that's what it does. But if you're using this CSS specificity, it actually makes it a whole lot easier. So if you're going to call it in another page, next thing you know you're going to do is that you're going to have to call multiple classes and so on. So that's just how it works. I hope you understand.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any more questions? I really wish I could continue, but then the class is just 2 hours, so I have to stop here. But then, as I'm stopping here, I'm actually going to be sending you guys a link to a tutorial that's actually going to help you guys complete your task. Okay, so I'll be sending this task together with the link to the tutorial so you guys know what to do. Okay, I'll look for a tutorial that's a little bit, straight to the point, that doesn't add much things inside. All right. Okay, without further ado, I think I'll end the class here. Thank you all for coming. I know React is class tomorrow. Okay, I don't know about class tomorrow, but I'll see if I have time on my schedule. I mean, it's going to be an impromptu class. Okay, it might not be recorded. That's just the only issue with it, because other classes might hold tomorrow. It's a timetable. Okay, I'll check that and see then. All right, so that's not an issue. But then, even if you're going to have a class tomorrow, I'm not going to be doing this assignment with you guys. I'm just going to be showing you guys tips on how to use Bootstrap with React. So, go joking like that. Yes, it's a task. I just wanted to start it with you guys. So that's the only thing I can do. Hmm? I'll not do the task for you guys. Just bear with me. Forgive me for that. Don't worry. God will see you through. Okay, so thank you guys very much. The class was lovely. Thank you all very much. If you have questions, at least you could hit me up. If I have a chance, I will definitely answer your questions for you. Okay, so thank you all for coming. I stop sharing my screen here. And all right, so okay. I beg. As you guys are hitting the DM, you should hit it with ease. Thank you. All right, so I think we'll be ending the class here for now. All right, thank you all. Thank you very much.